Welcome back to our continuing coverage inside the Miracle on the Hudson. Coming up, the heroes of Flight 1549. First, we're going to talk to the man who landed the jetliner in the river and saved the lives of everyone on board, Captain Chesley Sullenberger.
And we will speak with the rest of the crew about their experiences, what they did before and after Flight 1549 went down in the Hudson. And we have a big surprise for someone who was aboard Flight 1549. That's coming up in our next hour.
But first, Captain Chesley Sullenberger, known as Sully, has logged more than 19,000 hours of flight time in his nearly 30-year career with U.S. Airways.
But it was the 3.5 minutes that it took him to land Flight 1549 in the Hudson that have made him a hero. Captain Sullenberger, Sully, so good to meet you.
Great to meet you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. You looked out over this group of passengers and rescuers and their spouses that we have here, and you said, my, what a great-looking group of people.
And they are. It's great to see them. I saw a great group in Charlotte, and it's wonderful to see this group in New York.
Is it all just surreal for you, everything, all of this?
Ever since that day, that's the single word that my family and I have been using to describe this entire experience is surreal. It's hard to believe it actually happened.
Watching 60 Minutes last night, we were talking about it. These birds started to hit they filled the windshield of the plane.
Yes.
You said it sounded and it felt like a thunderstorm in Texas. For us who have lived there, that's wildly violent. Did you sense as you were coming into this that this was really going to be trouble?
I felt the birds hitting the airplane, and we were being pelted by many large birds all over the airplane, and both engines suddenly lost thrust. And yes, I knew immediately it was a serious situation.
And what did you think at that instant?
Well, I had to come up with a plan. And I quickly considered my alternatives and chose the only viable option. At the same time that, of course, First Officer Jeff, whom I couldn't have done this without, was trying to get the engine started. I should also say that this entire experience, in my opinion, so far has been entirely too much about Sully and not enough about the team. And without our flight attendants of Donna, Doreen, and Sheila, we would not have had the same outcome.
We'll get them here in a couple of seconds.
All of them.
Yes.
All right. Yeah. I need some specifics, though. So the engines go out. Is this plane flyable? I mean, even as a glider, because I know you went to the Air Force Academy, your first experience really was as a glider pilot. Is this plane flyable as a glider without any engine power?
Yes. We were using gravity as we descended to provide the forward motion to keep the airplane flying.
So you could control it then, because, all right, LaGuardia's over here. You're trying to take off this way. Here's the GW Bridge, and Hudson River's over here.
Yes.
How's that for graphics?
Pretty good.
Okay. You're heading up this way. You could literally steer the plane then
Yes.
to get it over the Hudson and put it down.
Yes, exactly. We glided to a landing.
And then you realize that your only option is to land in the river.
Right.
And you think to yourself, I can do this?
I was confident I could do it. Yes.
What made you so confident?
My experience. I just knew that it was possible.
Is it possible to anticipate outcome when this is all going on? You're only 900 feet over the GW Bridge as you're coming down and looking at the Hudson River, which very often is filled with tanker ships, fuel barges, all kinds of horribly hazardous things.
It wasn't that crowded. There was plenty of room, and had we needed to turn slightly to avoid the vessel, it would have been easy to do.
That would have been doable.
Yes.
Yeah.
So conditions were as perfect as they could be given this horrible scenario, weren't they?
Well, I like Jeff's response to that question. He said, I would rather have done it in July.
True. Because did it cross your mind that river is freezing?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
At any point, did you think about the 155 passengers, or are you on autopilot and just thinking about getting the job done?
Of course. I was willing to sacrifice the airplane to save the lives of everyone on board, obviously. But we were so intensely focused. Jeff and I and the flight attendants had things to do and little time in which to do them. So we were just concentrating on doing our jobs.
Yeah, there was a moment in the 60 Minutes interview also last night when you talked about realizing the impact, exactly what was going on. Did you have to suppress the adrenaline? Did you have to say, all right, get a grip?
I had to channel it.
Mm-hmm.
We have always in our careers practiced for the emergencies that might arise. This one was so sudden and so extreme that I had to suppress my natural adrenaline rush, quickly channel it, put it aside, and not allow it to distract me.
Wow. Has it stopped yet?
That's what I was going to say.
I can actually remember the hour it stopped. I mean, in the hospital while we were being checked out hours later that evening, I remember it subsiding.
Wow. Have you had a release, a moment where you just either cried or screamed or let it out somehow?
No, it's been more a gradual processing of this and integrating the experience into my life. But the one moment of relief obviously was that night in the hospital, finally getting the word, it was official, that everyone was accounted for and everyone was safe.
Wow.
That's wonderful, Sully.
Amazing.
Well, we will talk to them, we will talk to your crew, and a lot more with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.